Hey guys, how are you? Welcome to episode number 2 of One Guy, One Beer. I am your host, Nick Ostick. Thank you guys so much for tuning in once again. I am, sorry, the dog is on the couch chewing and it's kind of making me giggly. I am really excited about today's show, guys. Super geeked. The second I got the beer we're going to talk about today, I knew I wanted to do it on the show, and I've been looking forward to it ever since. Today's beer that we're going to drink and discuss is, wait for it, drum roll, it's Goose Island Brewing Company's Bourbon County brand coffee stout. The reason that I'm so geeked about it is primarily Goose Island's Bourbon County Stout, which is their barrel-aged stout, which this beer is sort of derived from, is probably my favorite barrel-aged stout. Although last night I did have the great fortune of getting my hands on a bottle of this year's Parabola from Firestone Walker, which is their barrel-aged stout, and I have to say, it did give Bourbon County a run for its money. Bourbon County did come out on top, but it was close. It was close. But besides being my favorite barrel-aged stout, Bourbon County, it's your standard stout. It's aged for, I believe, a year in bourbon barrels. But aside from being my favorite barrel-aged stout, it's probably one of my favorite beers, period. It usually comes out every year right around Thanksgiving. And it's one of those beers that I will wait in line for, that I will, sell my body into some sort of human trafficking situation if anyone was interested in doing that, if anybody wanted what I'm laying down here. That's how far I would go to get this beer, to get Bourbon County Stout. It's really great. And every year I try to get my hands on as much of it as possible. So, like I said, this is sort of a riff on that. The Bourbon County Stout is the base beer here. So, yeah, I'm really excited to try it for sure. Couple of housekeeping things real quick before we get into this beer. First off, thank you guys so much for all the comments, the messages, the emails, the sharing the debut episode on all the social media sites, the Facebooks, the Twitters, all that stuff. I really appreciate it. I'm glad that folks seem to dig the first episode, and yeah, I'm super grateful for all the help and sort of getting this out there. Second thing that I want to get to before we have the beer is I want to give a big shout out to the gentleman who provided this beer. This beer was actually donated to the show, which is also why I was really geeked to do it, because it's our first sort of donated beer. Donated by Todd Newberg. So Todd, thank you so much, man, for donating this beer. Todd donated a number of beers for us to do on the show, and I'm going to roll them out over the next couple of weeks. He donated some really awesome stuff, guys. It's stuff that I'm really geeked to try. Some of it I've had, some of it I haven't had. But I'm really excited to share the beer with you guys. And again, he went above and beyond in his donation. So Todd, thank you so much, man. We really appreciate it. We're going to be drinking extraordinarily well in the coming weeks. So yeah. So, the Bourbon County Coffee Stout. This is the 2014 version. Like I said, it comes out every year, once a year, right around Thanksgiving. It is brewed with Intelligentsia coffee. This year, the beans, rather, or the coffee that it's brewed with is, I'm going to bungle this the name here, Zericana coffee beans? I don't know, Zericana? I don't know. You can look it up and find it, I'm sure pronounce it much better than I can. But like I said, they with Intelligentsia Coffee, which is a Chicago coffee company. They make really good coffee. I've had it before in the past. And yeah, so this definitely should be quite tasty. Goose Island, Goose Island Beer Company, Chicago, Illinois. Founded in the late 80s, I believe, 88, 89, somewhere in there. Definitely one of the, I would say, forebearers in the American craft beer movement. When I think of Goose Island, I put them right up there with breweries like New Belgium, like Sierra Nevada. Beers that sort of really forwarded, the craft beer movement. And in the late '80s, early '90s, when Sierra Nevada and New Belgium started to get going. For those who are curious, this beer does age up to 5 years. Now, what's interesting about that is I remember in last show we had another coffee beer on, and I had said coffee tends to fall off, quite a bit if you age a coffee beer. Now, with this beer, I don't know. I don't know too many folks who have had it, sadly. So I can't say whether or not the coffee falls off. My guess is it's going to fall off a little bit. So I don't think what I told you in the last episode is incorrect. But yeah, this beer, like all the Bourbon County series, can sell for up to 5 years. So that's pretty cool. Well, should we get into this? I think we should get into this beer. Let's crack this baby open. I'm trying to serve it at least as close to room temperature as possible. With a big stout like this, that's kind of what you want to do. You want to make sure this is pretty close to room temp. Doing that, that was a tough one. Man, that sucker was on there. Room temperature allows for a better aroma. It allows for the different notes or for the different notes in the nose to come out, be a little more present. Wow, I can already smell it just from popping the cap. And I gotta tell you, this is gonna be good. It smells pretty amazing just from cracking it open. You can hear there he is. You can hear the feet. That's Aldo running around. He's getting his Saturday afternoon exercise, which means he's just chasing toys about the house like some kind of nut job. You could probably hear that. Yeah, that's it. So, pouring this beer here. Let's see. The glass is kind of dirty. Oh well. I think we'll deal right. I think we'll be okay. Let's see. Jet black, just like the Bourbon County Stout. Let's see. All right, there we go. Yeah, just jet black. I can already smell it. This is going to be amazing. I'm so geeked about this, guys. You have no idea. Oh yeah. Also, just in case you were curious, ABV 12.6% alcohol by volume. So this is definitely a sipper, right? This is not a beer that you want to. It's not it's not a quaffable beer. Excuse me. It's not one that you pound. This is definitely one that you open. You spend some time with. You just kind of nip at it, obviously, with that high ABV. Let's see. Holding the beer up to the light there. Like I said, jet black, maybe a little sort of brown highlights, but not much. Yeah, dark brown, not very much head. Let's see if I can agitate it here and get some head back. Let's see. Yeah, no, very, very little head to speak of. Looks like it's pretty decent carbonation, though. Just tiny little bubbles right there. Yep. Sort of espresso-colored bubbles. With high ABV beers like this, it's really hard to have any kind of head retention. Like the higher the alcohol level, the more sort of still or sludgy or viscous beers tend to get, and this one is no exception for sure. But yeah, it looks just like Bourbon County. Really pretty beer though. Like I said, very little head coming back, which is a good sign. It's thick, guys. I mean, this is it's a thick beer. It's not quite like motor oil, right? Which is what I love about Bourbon County. One of my favorite things to do is just pour Bourbon County Stout. It's got that really sludgy, motor oily pour to it, and that's one of my favorite things to do. Which may sound weird, but trust me, if you've had a pouring experience that matches, you understand what I'm getting at. Let's take a sniff. Wow. Okay. Okay. So obviously, what is at the forefront is coffee. dark roast coffee. Mm, yeah, but not so much like not like the flavor of coffee or like the way that it's kind of like um, when you walk into a Starbucks or a coffee shop and they just like whether they're freshly roasted or freshly ground the beans, like that's the type of aroma I get right up front. Mm. Definitely chocolate fudge, like chocolate fudge for sure, like brownie batter, right? I get some brownie batter in the nose. That's like right behind the coffee. A little bit of vanilla for sure. With that vanilla and that brownie battery fudge kind of thing, it's almost like a sundae kind of like a vanilla ice cream sundae with some hot fudge on it. Mm. Surprisingly, unlike the Bourbon County Stout, the regular stout, I don't get a ton of bourbon in the nose. Actually, I was kind of expecting that sort of vanilla-y, bourbony, sort of boozy aroma. Sort of like you get the oak, you get like that fibrous, woody kind of note. I don't get that in the nose at all. Yeah, I would not be able to tell just from the nose that this has been aged in bourbon barrels. Might be a little cold. I'm gonna try to warm it up here and see if that unlocks some of the aroma. Give it a little. Give it a little dance here. Yeah, it's kind of like a hula girl. Swish it around. There you go. It's like a grass skirt type situation. Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, still very very little alcohol, but yeah, just a ton of coffee, definitely, and that fudgy note for sure. Maybe some dark fruits, like a dark cherry kind of thing. I get a little bit of that, but not a ton. Tell you, it smells great though. All right, going for a sip, shall we? The wife said, "Finally." What's a beer show without discussing the aroma?
No, you sniff things. You spend half your life sniffing things. Just drink the beer.
The aroma on a beer is my favorite part. All right, going in. Okay. Um, Coffee was the dominant thing in the nose, right? It is not the dominant thing in the actual flavor. To me, that coffee is secondary. What I get right up front is that fudgy, brownie, battery. It's almost like those little Debbie brownies that would come in, that come in the little plastic packs. They have peanuts in them, or they've got those weird, like really sugary candied sprinkles. It's kind of like one of those. It's that level of fudge. The coffee, though, it's still kind of developing a little bit. But the coffee is right behind it. You get a little bit of the alcohol. I mean, you get some of that 12.6%, especially in the finish. There's a really sort of pleasant alcohol burn, kind of right down the center of the esophagus there. It's got a really nice bitter finish to it. Yeah, it's still sort of telling its story. It's strange that the thing you don't get right up front is that coffee. I really thought you were going to, and I don't. And it's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's not the dog again. Aldo dying to make an appearance on One Guy, One Beer. To call it One Guy, One Beer and a strange pug. You can probably hear him making noises, but going for a second sip. Mm-hmm. It's good. It's really good. What I really like about this too is the mouthfeel. It's got almost sort of a chewiness to it, like a chewy texture. And the carbonation, oh man, it's pretty lively too. Sometimes stouts can be, like I said, pretty still, not a lot of carbonation. This is good. It's got a nice. It sort of keeps each sip really fresh. Yeah, definitely a sipping beer. This would be a great dessert beer. Totally. I would have this beer with maybe some kind of chocolate dessert for sure. Some kind of actually last night we had chocolate brownies that were made with Sam Smith's chocolate stout. I could see this going really, really well with that for sure. Some sort of maybe like a flourless chocolate cake type of situation would go really well with this. But yeah, definitely a sipper, or just having this by itself. I mean, this is almost a dessert with that chocolatey note, that fudginess, that little bit of vanilla, and then the coffee there. I mean, this is almost a dessert by itself, for sure. Wow. Oh, that's super good. Mm-hmm. As it warms up a little bit, that coffee note is a little more prevalent in the flavor. Yeah, and there's that nice, really warming alcohol burn. I want to like have this beer by a fireplace in the wintertime in a nice big like leather recliner with like some jazz in the background, with like a Miles Davis record on. It's just a very, very wonderfully made sipping beer. Great nightcap beer. Yeah, really, really tasty. Really solid. Awesome. Trying to keep my composure, but my mind is just blown home. Wow. Well, so would I get it again? Hell yes, I would get it again. This beer can be difficult to come by. Kind of flies in the face of the tenets I set up during last show, trying to get beers that are A, affordable, and B, easy to get. But again, because this was donated to the show, and because I'm a Bourbon County Stout fiend, I wanted to share it with you guys anyway. But yes, I would totally get it again. I would go far and wide to find this beer. If you can, trade for it. If you know someone who has a bottle who will be willing to donate it to you, I would investigate that proposition and see if you can't make it happen. World-class beer, hands down. I don't think I like it quite as much as regular Bourbon County Stout, which is surprising to me. I thought because it's got that coffee note, it would sort of rise above Bourbon County for me. But it doesn't. I think Bourbon County Stout, to me, there's something, there's a little more, I don't know, depth of flavor in the Bourbon County Stout to me. This is obviously, totally great, but Bourbon County Stout, to me, tells of more interesting stories that develops on the mouth. This is kind of pow, fudginess, pow, coffee, bitterness, and then that's kind of it. Bourbon County, to me, has a sort of a more subtle hand to it. But still, amazing beer. Like I said, world-class. Awesome. Todd, thank you again for donating this. This has been totally, totally great. Well, that's going to about do it for episode number 2 of One Guy and One Beer. Thanks so much, guys, for tuning in. Really appreciate it. Stay tuned for upcoming episodes. We've got some great stuff. And until then, go get this beer, and I'm going to keep drinking. Cheers.